is the HiBoy S22 electric skateboard. It's really a longboard. This is the second version of this model from HiBoy. This is one of the cheaper electric skateboards on the market. Board sells for around $300, and so far I find it to be a pretty good board considering its value. Now this review is going to be from not only a person new to electric skateboards, but someone who's new to skateboards altogether. And I thought maybe that perspective would be interesting to share. If you are looking to get into this and don't have any experience, then maybe you'll find this a little bit more of value. So far, I'm pretty impressed with the skateboard. I'm yet to push it to its upper limits, but the board rides nice and smooth, stable, and responds well to the remote. The trucks are a bit loose, and I made the mistake of immediately riding the skateboard without tightening them up. I hear that most skateboards come with the trucks loose. So, but even tightening them up, it definitely helps some, but I can't really say they're really getting all that tight. The trucks are pretty loose, and this might be one of the bigger issues as time goes on with the board. But I might be able to replace them or adjust them. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the remote. The remote does not have a screen, but it indicates battery life of the board and what mode you are operating in. The only thing I don't care for is the reverse button is a little too easy to hit, and one time I hit it without knowing, pushed forward on the throttle, and launched the thing backwards. I don't know if it's good or bad, that the brake is back on the lever regardless of what mode you're in, but it does become counterintuitive, and maybe reverse isn't so needed. It's nice if the board gets away from you and use reverse to bring it back, but I don't really ever find the need to just have to change my direction altogether. And the fact that that button is so easy to hit, and I've already thrown it out for me once, has me concerned, a little worried that I might do it again and maybe be even less prepared. The board has 4 modes it operates in, from a very beginner mode up to advanced. The first setting is really good for beginners, as both the acceleration and braking is greatly reduced. The second gives you a little more power with both acceleration and braking, but it barely gets you up a hill. The third is what I consider the normal operating mode. It gives you fair power and gets you up your hill, and will get you up hills. Off the line, it's still very weak and slow, but I find that's my normal go-to mode. The fourth mode has significantly more power. It gives a bit of kick to the board, and that's where you're going to hit your upper speeds. It definitely drains the battery a lot faster. I haven't played a lot with the fourth mode, mainly because I'm just still getting comfortable with the board, and I generally use that if under the right conditions and if my pad's on and all that. But when I do use it, I find the battery just starts draining real fast. Luckily, I have not had any disconnect issues with the remote, and it's performed well. I do find it pretty responsive. The brakes, they do have a few stages. For the most part, the brakes are okay. They definitely do the job, but they're not gonna throw you off the board. I like that it has a loop for your finger to pass through. It's actually uncommon from what I'm seeing on a lot of skateboards. It also has a spot for a lanyard, though it didn't come with one, but I did buy one online, and anything you see in the video here, there'll be links to online, including the lanyard there. There is no app or anything like that, so you can see how the board is doing. So there's no display on the board, there's no app. That's why I don't really know how far I've gone on this. I've just estimated based off of the roads I know I've been looping around to practice. So let's just go back to the trucks, and not only are they loose, but there's a bigger issue in that I couldn't get them tightened to the board, and I now will have a video dedicated purely to how I tighten them up. But I actually rode the board probably the first 50 miles with them kind of like little wiggly like this. So, I don't know, between the trucks being loose and that, I guess I did all right. But I'm going to see, now that I tighten them up, how fast they come loose. But the way to address this issue is not good, and this is one of the cheaper aspects of the board. The wheels are on the bigger side. They're 90 millimeter. I think this front wheels you could probably change out with anything, but the rear wheels are hub sleeves, and they are changeable, but I don't really know how to procure them yet. Once these sleeves wear out, I hope that we can buy more from HiBoy. I think someone thought Meepo sleeves might be compatible. There'll be links in the description if I do find places to buy them. I'm also going to note that when I first received the board, half the screws are missing out of one of the rear wheels. It's like it was perfectly every other one, and it just seems that they literally skipped that guy in the assembly process that day, or maybe they purposely did it. I have no idea. When I contacted HiBoy, they gladly sent me the screws. They didn't act surprised. It had to come from China though, so that took forever. When I got the new ones, they fit, but they look different, but whatever, I didn't worry about it as long as they fit. And they gave me one extra one, gee thanks. And when I asked them, like, what happened here, they were like, oh, oversight in our manufacturing process. I'm just going to say this field is still very new, and the technology is evolving very quickly, and they're still, I think the manufacturers are still trying to figure out their exact market, because while this is obviously for people with skateboard experience, it does widen the market, whether you like it or not, to other people. And just like e-bikes kind of widened the market on bikes, this is going to happen with skateboards, and I think they're trying to figure out exactly how to dial it in correctly. There's two major issues in my mind right now. Is that one, they're way too expensive. I just can't understand why they're so expensive, but whatever, they are. And two, they're too heavy, and that's the problem with e-bikes. Is the weight. They hold the weight issue is a problem. The deck, it's a flexible deck. It has a nice curve in it. It feels very comfortable. Actually, the deck is one of the things that made this board very accessible to me immediately. It was the right length, it was the right width, and I would love that it was completely covered in grip tape, but loving the feel of it. Took me a bit to figure out how to position my feet across the grip tape while the board's moving. I'm still learning that. I do prefer a board that has complete grip tape on it. Most of them do, but some of the bamboo boards, to highlight the bamboo aspect of it, doesn't. And even some of the carbon boards I notice aren't fully covered in grip tape. You can always add it yourself, but underneath the skateboard, there's only one bump. Most skateboards have two bumps, one holding the battery, another holding the ESC. So obviously the battery in there is probably, a little smaller. I don't have the exact specs. Another advantage to the small battery is that it's going to charge faster. So I find that the board is generally charged up in less than 3 hours. The battery's okay. I normally use the board on mode 3, and in that mode I get about 5 to 7 miles. This is across flat roads with wind resistance. It's been cold, so I would say it's been that's in 30 to 40 degrees. And I'm a larger rider, around about 190 pounds, and I got a little less than I expected, because once I got to that second battery line, I actually did crank it up. Maybe the mistake was that I cranked up the power late in the ride and really stressed the battery, because at that point I quickly went to 1 bar, and I did run out of power. So I would like the battery to go a little further, but one of the advantages is that it weighs about 17 pounds, and I've been carrying it around. It doesn't even feel like 17 pounds. Actually, if you carry it, I carry it right at the battery on my side, and that way it balances out, and it's actually very comfortable, and I don't feel like it's very heavy. Another great feature, which I've come to love, turn the skateboard on, all you have to do is put it down on the ground and push it forward. I don't see a way to shut it off remotely. I haven't figured that out yet, but it does, it will just time out and power off on its own. The remote also works when it's plugged into a battery. So, when you plug it in, it's going to show the current battery level of the remote, not your board. It's a little difficult to tell what mode you're operating in, but the remote still works. So in summary, This board has a lot of good features. The remote is nice, the board turns on by a push forward, there's only one bump on the bottom, the wheels are big, the deck is really nice and flexible, it has good power and decent range. If I had received it with the trucks properly attached to the board, all the screws in the wheels, no tools missing, then my only issue would be tightening up the trucks themselves. That issue is not so bad if you pick up some new bushings and play around with different sets to see what feels good. But I did contact HiBoy through these issues, and they were very responsive. Actually, a little more responsive than I expected. He sent me the extra screws, and then I asked about, hub sleeves, and in the end, they are sending me now a pair of hub sleeves, so I will have a spare pair. Done a lot to try and make up for the fact that I had issues here. I plan on putting up videos of any maintenance performed on the board and how it has been doing, including how I tightened up the trucks and modified the bushings. If you are looking for a beginner skateboard, I think this is a good choice. Despite my issues, I've put a lot of miles on this board and I've had a lot of fun. Finally, HiBoy themselves has been responsive to my issues. They've addressed them, they've tried to make good wherever they can, and they've been very responsive. Customer service goes a long way. That really matters to me. So given the fun I've had with this board, the support I received, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I think I'm going to be using this board for a long time, and I think it's a good board for me. It's really helped me determine what I'm looking for from a skateboard. If you're interested in seeing how this skateboard holds up over the long run, be sure to subscribe. If this video was of help, you feel I deserved it, appreciate a like as well. Thanks for watching.